Hi, I'm Allison. Welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to be making these fudgy brownies with a chocolate ganache topping that are perfect for Valentine's Day. To get them going, you're just going to need a couple bowls, a spatula, and a whisk. So we're going to start with our wet ingredients that are going to be based off of your brown sugar and white sugar, some cooled melted butter, and 4 eggs, some vanilla, and just a little bit of vegetable oil. You're going to have all of these ingredients in one bowl, and you're going to get your whisk out and get them whisked together to where they're perfectly combined. And you'll know it's perfect because it'll be this gorgeous caramel color, and you won't be able to see any whole ingredients. You won't be able to make out egg yolk or the sugars or anything. It'll all be a nice color. So while you've got your wet ingredients in one bowl, you're going to get out a second bowl to get your dry ingredients together. Your dry ingredients are just flour and cocoa powder and a little bit of salt. You're going to want to either whisk those together, or if you have a mesh strainer, you're going to want to strain those and get them combined, because once you have your dry ingredients mixed together, you're going to fold your dry ingredients into your wet ingredients, which is why you'll need a spatula. And just a reminder, this entire recipe is going to be down below in the description box. All right, so we've got our dry ingredients and our wet ingredients, and we're going to dump our dry ingredients in, and we're going to get to folding. So to fold it in, you're really going to want to scrape the sides and the bottom and kind of fold the wet ingredients on top of the dry ingredients. This gets a little messy because of how dry cocoa powder is, and it may take a while, but try not to just stir it up, because you don't want to overwork the ingredients, because that might lead to dried out brownies instead of some yummy fudgy goodness. So as you can see, you've got what looks like brownie mix and like what looks like store-bought brownie mix, I guess. So it's that nice dark chocolate color. I like to use dark cocoa powder for this reason. I think it increases the flavor and makes it even richer and just luxurious. So you're going to take that wonderful brownie mix and you're going to dump it into your pan. I'm using a 9x13 pan that's been greased with parchment paper at the bottom, but you can use whatever size pan you want. Obviously, the smaller the pan, the thicker the brownie. I wanted mine to be a little bit on the thinner side for brownies because I'm topping them with the chocolate ganache. So they end up being pretty thick. But you're going to pop that into the oven, and you're going to bake it for 20 to 30 minutes at 350. And once those are out and cooled, you're going to want to work on your chocolate ganache mixture. And chocolate ganache sounds really fancy, but it's actually really easy. It is just equal parts heavy whipping cream and chocolate chips. So you're going to heat up your heavy whipping cream. I just put it in this glass bowl and microwaved it until it was like scalding hot. Then I dumped in my chocolate chips, and you just mix it up. You mix it and mix it and mix it. And as you can see, it went from kind of like a light brown to this really dark, rich brown. And that is when you know it's good to go. And this, you're going to just pour all over the top of the brownies. And see, you can see that mixture and the consistency. And the longer you let it sit in the bowl, the thicker it will be. But since we're topping it on the brownies, I wanted it pretty liquid, just so I would be able to easily spread it around. So see, we're going to top our brownies with this ganache mixture, and don't be skimpy on it. Just really load it up, because these brownies are rich and decadent and really everything that you want on Valentine's Day when you know you're going to be indulging a little bit. So I'm going to get it all spread nice and even. And once I've got it spread out, you're going to put it in the refrigerator, because you want the ganache to really harden up, which it does as it cools, so that you can cut it. Now, don't get me wrong. If you want to just eat a brownie that's covered in some nice melted chocolate, dive in right now, because it will be delicious. But in my opinion, it's totally worth waiting for the ganache to harden, because it is like a cafeteria brownie on steroids. So here are your finished brownies, and I'm just topping them with some pink icing and sprinkles to just make them extra festive for Valentine's Day. But they do not need that icing. That is purely for aesthetics. They are so sweet and so rich and so decadent without anything on top. But since it's Valentine's Day, I decided to add a little something extra. And for me, even after I added this frosting, I decided to store them in the refrigerator. I put them in a Tupperware and kept them in the refrigerator where they still are. And I don't know what it is about this cold, fudgy, rich ganache brownie, but it is amazing. So I hope you make this recipe and I hope you enjoy them as much as I have. And I hope that if you're giving them to a special someone on Valentine's Day, that they love them too.